Hey y'all, I am Kate Ginsberg, founder and CEO of Queen of To Do and the host here at Bearing It All. Today I wanted to chat with y'all solo style regarding running an ethical company and being an ethical entrepreneur. This is something that I haven't heard a lot of. It's just like companies are there to be profitable, and that's the end all be all, it seems like, especially for a lot of big corporations. And with our company, we've been scaling for about 4 years now. It was just me until May of 2021. And so as we started to grow, I brought on Heather, my partner, who has handled operations since the beginning, really helped with getting things up and running, handling the back end, while I was focused on the front end, customer service side of things, training new employees, getting people onboarded. And through all of that, Heather and I had been friends for years. And so we knew our personal values really aligned, that what we both believed was most important is the people that we're working with, not profits, not making a ton of money and, paying our team minimum wage. So as we've kind of grown, we grew very quickly. We've got 19 employees now, actual W-2 employees, not contractors. And so we've had to learn a lot really quickly. However, through that, we've been very focused on what are our values and do these decisions that we're making align with those. So I wanted to chat with y'all about being an ethical entrepreneur and what that personally means to me, and considerations we make. One thing that we do as a company is at the beginning of each year, we decide on a theme for the year. And a couple of years ago, our theme was alignment and transparency. We wanted our team to be able to come to us with concerns, ask us questions, get honest answers. And then alignment, looking at, is the decision we're making, or is what we're doing getting us closer to where we want to be? While also bearing in mind where we want to be is in a position of setting our families up for generational wealth. However, we are not willing to do that at the expense of our team, our values, our guiding principles. So I think where a lot of business owners run into problems with this is they've never really sat down and thought about what are the values of their company. And are they living by those? Do they align with your personal values? Because if your business values are not aligned with your personal values, you're always going to be at conflict there. It's never going to be a thing that is easy. One thing that I will say, like, even despite all the challenges that we've had with growing so quickly and having to learn how to be a CEO and how to lead and how to do that effectively while still offering really phenomenal customer service, and provide good work to our clients, everything that we've done has really come through this lens of what are my personal values and how do I bring those into business? Profits are not the most important thing for us. We will get there. We full-heartedly believe that we will get there. We know that that's the direction we're moving. We are getting closer and closer to that all the time. However, that cannot come at the expense of our team. Our team is not expendable. Each and every one of them brings skills and wisdom and knowledge to the job. They're all extremely trustworthy. They don't do things that we're like, oh my God, that was not what we do here. All of them have personal values that align with our company values of transparency and providing good customer service and treating our clients with kindness and respect and non-judgmentally, because we are seeing people in sometimes difficult circumstances. Sometimes they're just absolutely overwhelmed and their house has been the thing that has slidden, off their plate, and it's just a disaster. They need help getting caught up with those things. So being able to go in and treat them with empathy and understanding goes a long way. People carry a lot of shame and guilt around not keeping a spotless house. It's not a moral failure to me, especially in circumstances where they've had a sick family member or they're neurodivergent or their business has really taken off and like they're just out of bandwidth completely, or they just have busy kids, busy families, and other things that they would rather do than keeping their own home. tidy and spotless, keeping up with laundry. We all have limited bandwidth, and so treating people with the same kindness and respect that we want to get is one of our company values, and that applies to both clients and team members. We expect our team to be respectful. We expect our clients to be respectful of our team, and by making that part of our company values, we outline that for clients. We explicitly say we don't tolerate an environment of disrespect, of racism, homophobia, transphobia, any xenophobia. Like, we just don't abide by that. That's not part of who we are. And so we have on occasion had to make the hard decision to release a client because their values clearly do not align with ours. That's not to say we don't have clients whose personal opinions we don't agree with. We absolutely do. However, if a client is not treating our team with respect, there's not enough money in the world for me to send an employee into a situation where we know they're not going to be treated respectfully. So identifying those values and being very clear about those, and having consequences for people who violate those values is important. It's part of why our team members stay with us for long lengths of time. If they find they enjoy the work, the company culture that we built is a huge reason of why they stay. We pay our team well, far above minimum wage. We pay people a living wage and a thriving wage. Most of our team is able to work part-time and make ends meet, which is huge. They have time to go to doctor's appointments and out with friends and just decompress for a day here and there. And so we don't just push the idea that delegation is self-care and that we all deserve rest and that rest is productive and shouldn't be earned on it. Like, we don't just push that narrative with our clients. We also firmly believe that our team is oh my God, my brain just broke. Our team deserves that. Our team is worthy of having a life that is not just work and sleep. We firmly believe that every person deserves to be supported. And that means whether it's convenient for me or not. If a team member tells me, hey, I'm taking 2 weeks off, it's not a request. They are telling me I will not be at work. And it is my job as the CEO to ensure that we have coverage for their clients. As we've gotten started, we've come to the conclusion that we can train the skills. We can teach people how to work really efficiently and be good organizers and meet client needs to an extent that is incredibly valuable. However, finding people that align with our values and our mission and our goals and are wholeheartedly in on those is far more challenging. So we've been very, very lucky that the majority of our team is on board with where we're going. They see the vision. They want to be part of what we're building here. And the people that do not align with our values or aren't a culture fit, they just don't tend to be long-term employees for us. They tend to move on pretty quickly. The other thing that we really have worked hard on is, what's the most important thing? If the most important thing is bringing in revenue, that's going to alter the lens through which you make decisions. All of your decisions are going to align with, how do we make the most money out of this? For us at Queen of To Do, and for especially me personally, the people are the most important. Are we taking good care of our team? Are we taking good care of our clients? Does everyone we interact with feel supported? Are the people that we're interacting with in offices, receptionists and office staff and, anybody we make a phone call to, the pharmacist to check and see if a prescription's ready, are we making their days better or worse? Not to say that we're pushovers. We can get firm if we need to, but we also understand that treating people with kindness and respect goes a whole lot further than going in guns blazing, hair on fire, enraged. So we pride ourselves in being good problem solvers, and that includes reaching out and, smoothing things over wherever we can to ensure that we get a great result as quickly as possible. With that, with people being the most important thing, that lens changes the decisions that we make in some cases. If it's a matter of we can make an extra $100 or we can preserve a relationship, we're going to preserve that relationship. There's just not, to me, money is not my greatest driver in life. Community and connection are my greatest drivers. And so as we make these decisions as a business, they are through that lens of, is this strengthening our communities? Are we building connections? Is this allowing our team to build community in their spare time? Is it allowing our clients to engage more fully with their family, with their, volunteer work, with their kids' schools? Is it empowering them to have time to engage in things that really feed their souls, as opposed to constantly working to get the bare minimum? I don't think anybody wants to live a life where they're just barely scraping by and getting the bare minimum. And so as we make decisions, are those empowering the people we're interacting with to have a life where they are thriving? And then one of the last things we look at is, as I am making business decisions and making considerations, is this decision benefiting the majority of stakeholders? Is stakeholders not being our shareholders? Obviously, we're a private company, but people who are impacted by the decision. So deciding to invest in marketing, is that harming any of our employees? Is it making things challenging for anyone? Is it, potentially harming or negatively impacting clients in any way? Do we have permission from clients to use pictures of their home on social media? If not, we don't use them. We're in people's private spaces. I would not necessarily want my home blasted out on social media without permission. So just bearing in mind, do we have consent? Are we doing this in a way that presents our client in a fair light? Are they thrilled with the work that we do, and they're big fans of showing before and after of their spaces? Is there anybody that is being negatively impacted by our hiring decisions? Is there any reason we should not move forward with this? And if the answer is yes, somebody is being significantly harmed or negatively impacted, we find a different solution. It was one of those situations where, until I was involved in a professional development program about a year ago, when we were specifically asked, what are your company values, that I really dug in and thought of those things. Like I had my personal values. It was just me for 10 years. And so, that was the lens. And so it's been a very natural, shift to, all right, these were my personal values. They still hold as we grow the company. I am not the most important person at the company. I just happen to be the founder and CEO. But that doesn't mean that my paycheck should harm other people. We can distribute our revenue and our profits in such a way that everyone is rising together. We can give little bonuses here and there for really great work and acknowledge people for the efforts that they're putting in. Our team regularly goes above and beyond. We want to be sure that they understand that we do deeply value them as people and that they have the resources and support that they need. So if somebody asks, hey, can I have an extra set of hands for this? Even if it's something that they technically could handle on their own, if they request a second set of hands and a second person to make that easier, okay, that's not harming me at all. It's benefiting the client in that the work is getting done more quickly. It's benefiting both team members, the one that asked for help and the one that is providing that help. The one that asks for help gets what they need. and some ease in their own life. The one that goes into be the second set of hands, they get a little extra money, a few extra hours. It also helps our team build those relationships and bonds between themselves, which is absolutely critical as we continue to scale, to have that culture of we're going to help each other out because it gets us where we want to go faster. So I encourage all entrepreneurs to really think about values, document them, put them on your website, write them down, post them, make sure that your employees know what your values are and that you will continue to make decisions based on those values as opposed to against those values. It's not always the easiest. It's hard to uphold values. We've made mistakes along the way. The best thing that we can do is offer ourselves grace and a commitment to move forward and adjust accordingly as we move on. So I encourage you, entrepreneurs, to think really hard about what are our company values? How do those look in day-to-day operations when a problem comes up? Like, how do we solve those things? And really use that as your focus in all decisions. How do we do this in a way that really allows us to move beyond profit-driven, profit-focused business ownership? Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've got additional questions, feel free to pop those into the comments or reach out on our socials. And again, I am Kate. This is Bearing It All.